All right, today we're going to dive into a technique that's powerful but maybe a little underutilized. It's gastrointestinal secretion reinfusion, based on some really compelling clinical experience from Amy Berry. Let's get right into it.
You know this patient. We've all had them. The really complex post-op. The patient with severe pancreatitis. Their drains are just pouring out fluid. You feel like you spend your entire day just chasing electrolytes and trying to keep up with volume. It's a familiar and, let's be honest, a totally exhausting challenge on any surgical service.
And the sheer scale of this problem? It can be absolutely massive. Just think about it. The body makes about 1 liter of bile, another liter of pancreatic fluid, and sometimes up to 3 liters of gastric secretions every single day. That can add up to 5 liters of essential digestive fluid, and in some of our patients, it's all just going into a bag. That is a huge physiological hit for anyone to take.
So what happens when we just can't get ahead of these losses? Well, the clinical challenge is significant, to say the least. When all these vital upper intestinal secretions don't make it to the small intestine, where they're supposed to do their job, a whole cascade of problems kicks off.
And this isn't just about losing volume. The consequences are systemic. We're talking about severe dehydration, really persistent and tricky electrolyte and acid-base imbalances, and of course, major malabsorption, especially when it comes to fats and all those fat-soluble vitamins.
But what if we could restore the body's natural cycle? What if we could fix the plumbing? This is exactly where GI reinfusion comes in. It's a pretty elegant and really physiological solution to what is, at its core, a plumbing problem. Instead of trying to replace everything that's lost, we just put it back where it's supposed to go.
So what is it exactly? Well, it's a simple but really powerful idea. You collect all those externally drained upper GI secretions, the bile, the pancreatic fluid, the gastric juices, and you reintroduce them back into the small intestine, usually through a J-tube. And the benefits? They can be immediate and pretty profound. You're restoring normal fat digestion. You're dramatically improving nutrient absorption. And, this is a big one, you're often avoiding the need for long-term IV fluids or parenteral nutrition and all the risks that come with having a central line.
Now hold on. This isn't for every single patient. Just like any intervention we do, patient selection is absolutely key to success. So the big question is, who is the ideal candidate for this?
You really should be thinking about this for your patients who are facing a prolonged hospital stay, the ones who have those nagging fluid and electrolyte imbalances no matter how much you replace, and really anyone showing clear signs of malabsorption because of high-volume losses. It's a proactive way to get on top of a really complex problem.
And on the flip side, it's just as important to know when not to do it. Patients with pretty low volume losses, say less than 500 mils a day, probably not worth it. Same for patients in palliative care or anyone with clearly infected biliary secretions. And this is crucial. If the patient or their caregivers just can't manage a complex plan, it's a non-starter for sending them home.
Okay, so you've picked the right patient. The next question is the practical one. How do you actually do this? Well, it turns out there are a few ways you can approach this right at the bedside, and each one has its own set of pros and cons.
So let's break down the 3 main methods. First, you've got the bolus method. It's simple, but honestly, it's often poorly tolerated if the volume is too high. Then there's the pump method, which gives you really precise control but means you need 2 pumps running. And then you have the gravity method, which, as you'll see, can strike a really nice balance.
And this right here is a perfect example of brilliant bedside ingenuity. In one of the case studies, a nurse came up with this incredibly clever gravity method. They simply collected the secretions, poured them into a standard enema bag, and then wired it right into the J-tube line alongside the tube feeds. It's simple, it's slow, it's well-tolerated, and best of all, it doesn't require an extra pump. Just fantastic.
Now, theory is one thing, but practice is where you learn the real lessons, right? The source paper walks us through 2 incredibly complex cases. They serve as these powerful examples of both the amazing potential of this technique and some of its real-world pitfalls.
So first up, let's meet patient PG. He's a 59-year-old guy with severe pancreatitis and a gastric outlet obstruction. He's got a decompressive G-tube that was putting out a massive 3 to 4 liters of gastric and pancreato-biliary secretions every single day.
And just look at this. This shows you exactly what happened when his home therapy failed. On the left, you see a stable labs when he was discharged. On the right, his labs just 5 days later when he came back. His BUN skyrocketed from 19 to 80 and his creatinine tripled. He was in a severe acute kidney injury, and it was a direct result of not getting enough reinfusion.
Okay, our second case is SL. He's a 41-year-old man who developed a duodenal stump leak after an operation. He had multiple drains, and their combined output was up to 3 liters a day of pure pancreato-biliary secretions.
And here we go again. We see the absolutely devastating impact of poor compliance at home. His BUN went from a respectable 13 all the way up to 101. And look at his sodium. It plummeted to 119. The guy was in profound metabolic disarray, simply because a really complex home reinfusion plan just wasn't followed.
After he was readmitted, the source paper includes this really powerful quote about the patient's family. It just underscores a critical point. After they experienced that failure, their level of engagement for the second discharge attempt was totally different. The motivation to get it right was immense. This just highlights how absolutely necessary patient and family education and their buy-in really is.
So after walking through the how-to and these 2 really tough cases, what are the big takeaways here? Let's try to boil this all down into some actionable points for your own clinical practice.
Okay, here are the crucial points. First, GI reinfusion is a totally viable and powerful option to avoid central lines and PN in these patients. Second, meticulous patient selection is completely non-negotiable. And third, and maybe most importantly, any discharge plan that involves this has to be simplified as much as humanly possible, and then taught and retaught until the patient and their family are confident experts.
And remember, you can't do this alone. As the paper makes crystal clear, getting good outcomes here is a team sport. It absolutely requires close collaboration between you, your nurses, and your dietitians to manage the nutrition, the mechanics of the setup, and all the education that goes with it.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about on your next rounds. As you're managing those really complex patients with the high output drains, which one of them is just waiting for this elegant physiological solution? Which patient could you get home faster and maybe keep them home just by restoring their natural cycle? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining this explainer.